They snatch him. um, that's not. Well, we'll get into it because actually, if she made it to him, then we have a whole lot of issues that took place. She make it to him. Anyway, that was my 15. Let me go back to 85. All right. Okay, so security roles. All right. So what roles do we have as a safety person or a safety team? Okay. So your safety team isn't just, and we established this, isn't just your armed personnel inside the church. It's everybody that's working, all your volunteers. Okay. So we're all safety personnel. So what is important? This is in this order as well, okay? We want to be a deterrent, all right? That's the one thing that we want to do. Walmart tell its employees to kill them with kindness. Bother them with kindness. If you think they're stealing, hey, can I help you? Do you need anything? Oh, well, let me take you over there. And they'd be like, no, I don't need you. Oh, well, look, I don't have nothing else to do. Look, I'm just walk with you, to make sure you get whatever you need, right? So they're being a deterrent, okay? All right, so if we can be a deterrent, and I tell this in all firearms, even in tactical training, the best shot is the one you never have to shoot, all right? Anytime we leave an event, when we're going serve a warrant or anything like that, that nobody's injured, to me, it's always the best. All the guys like to get into the rustle and bustle. Oh, yeah, I did this or whatever. But if we can do it without anybody getting injured, it's always the best. So, as a framework and a thought process, what we as an organization want to be is a deterrent. All right? If you ever hear some of the things, if Trump is ever, I'm not going to get into that. He said one thing a couple years ago where he said we need to make schools hard targets. And what that meant was make them a deterrent. If you can make them hard targets. So we were talking a few minutes ago about home security. And some people will say, well, I don't need cameras. They're going to come in if they want to come in. Okay, but when they come on the block, they're not going to the house with the cameras first. That house has a deterrent. Do you see that? So they're not going there first, okay? So, parking lot brother. Oh, my God. When that brother's out there, reading license plates and stuff, they are going to turn around and skedaddle, and then we have done our job. Unfortunately, if they go to another church that don't have somebody as awesome as you and something happens, we'll pray for them. But our job is to be a deterrent. Does that make sense? Okay. It's going to work in Jesus' name. God, dog. I never had this much problems before. I think it's you, brother. All right. So secondly, you're going to notice, you're going to see a reoccurring theme, okay? Not only do we want to be a deterrent, we want to think preventative, all right? Most people don't like law enforcement because they're responsive and not preventative, okay? Where were you when my car was broken into, right? So where is the preventative maintenance, okay? So we want to be preventative in our actions, not just responsive. So if we can, there's a book called Left of Bang, and it's written about the lone wolf program in the military. I'm getting ahead of myself just a little bit. But what they did was they studied local law enforcement on how to determine pre-attack behaviors so they can do preventative things before they get into ambushes and stuff like that. All right. So being a deterrent is us being visible. Being preventative is us making those approaches, being friendly, responding to different things that we're going to see as far as pre-attack behaviors. This is just not working. Oh, look, I'm going to put both of them up so I can just talk. Okay, and then, so if we're being a deterrent, we're being preventative, we want to be proactive. We want to think ahead, all right? If we know what the statistics say about robberies and domestics, then we wanna be proactive in those areas. Okay, what are we doing with our finances? Where am I sitting when these things are moving back and forth? What's going on with the families when they're getting out of the parking lot? Are they fighting? Is somebody crying when they come in? All of these things cause you to be proactive in your response on, okay, what information can I gather early before something happens, and then we're trying to respond to it. Okay, and then lastly is actually responding to something that you see unfolding. Okay, a lot of what we do is get into the paralysis of analysis and don't respond. Okay, so if we get into a situation where we see something unfolding and I need to respond to it, it's not necessarily I'm responding to somebody that's about to, I'm about to use a term, clack off an S vest, somebody that's about to explode a suicide vest, or about to pull a shotgun and be like the Terminator. It could just very well be there's an argument that's about to take place. There's somebody standing in the corner, not talking to anybody, just crying, And if you're crying and this is not hot, because that's one good reason to. It's one good reason to cry in Texas. If I get out frustrated in the summer, it's because I'm hot. All right. But you can definitely come and say, hey, brother, what's going on? Be like, I'm burning up, bro. And then you'd be like, well, all right, well, come on inside. We got water and AC for you, in Jesus' name. So you at least know what's going on. Any questions about this? Some parts of the roles of security? Did you do that on me? All right, press it again, brother. Hey, is it working this way? I got to point to you, God. Oh, all right, God, all right. Respond then, in Jesus' name. All right, I said respond. Go ahead.
Or way to approach the person, to already, you know, um, assess, yeah, and maybe if it doesn't look, if we kind of don't know what to do, can we say to the person, no, you're not allowed? Or, I'm trying to see an approach for us to secure everybody. First of all, in this building and the parking lot. So starting from the parking lot, so you're not yet in the building.
We are going there. There are some. Okay, so let me say this. You always start with why. All right. Simon Sinek wrote a book. It's a leadership book called "Start with Why." So if you have a why in your mind, then go get those questions answered. Okay, and it's just that simple. All right. Why is this person the only one still sitting in their car when everybody else has gotten out? Everybody else, when they pulled up, it may take a few minutes. The older I get, the longer it takes me to get out of the car. I used to talk, come on, Mom, you're taking forever. But now I'd be like, you'll pull something. All right, so before you create something in your head by saying, this person has a bomb, and then now you're walking on the preface of that person has a bomb, you don't know them. Right? So you can definitely offend a person if you do that. But if you say, what's causing me to hone in on that? Why is this suspicious? Let me get those questions, and then let me get those answers. Why is this suspicious? Because I could get those answers just by scanning is what the next thing is up here. All right, so if I'm scanning, which is me just looking, most people are not looking. If you get off your phone and you put it in your pocket, or, God forbid, you leave it at home, right? You will notice how unaware people are wherever you go. Gas stations, stores. Now, the most dangerous thing is vehicles. Just go stand by a major thoroughfare like just go stand out here on the feeder road and just watch. Watch the people coming and they all driving. All of them. It's scary to see. So people are unaware. Anyway, so if you're scanning and you see something, like we actually here, you assess it. Right? So what do I do when I'm assessing it? I'm mentally questioning the whys. Why is that person still sitting in their car? Is it on? Is it cold? Is it hot? Because if you sit in the car, not this August, thank God this August was great. Yeah, this August was great. But last August, man, if you sitting in your car last August when it was 100-something degrees every day, and your car is off, and you in it for 30 minutes, you see how this is getting to what we call the totality of circumstances, right? It's not just one thing, right? We start having to deal with the clusters of things. Okay, what caused the hairs on the back of my neck to stand up about this situation? Now, I'm staying on the car, which we can get into different scenarios, right? So I'm staying on the car, but these are the questions that I would be asking myself. Because something kicked off in my mind and said something ain't right with that. Why? Now I'm talking to myself, which I do that a lot. I don't lose my arguments though. I always win them. But now I'm assessing. So what helps me better assess, we have 5 senses. All right? What would help me of my 5 senses assess a situation? It's not a trick question. Eyes. Nothing else, right? Maybe ears, maybe smell. And, I mean, if the car is rolling with marijuana, then that's a smell that might help. Well, that's why they didn't get out the car. They hotboxing. All right, they get high. They come and get high. You're like, you getting the wrong kind of high, brother. But anyway, majority of the time, your information that's going to help you answer the whys is your eyes. What people don't do, because it's rude, your mama said, it's rude to stare. Nobody stares. What you have to do in this situation is opposite of what your mama said. Don't tell your mama that I said that. I don't want to get hit. I don't want to get hit. But the only way you're going to answer your questions is to stare. And if they're uncomfortable with staring, that also says something. Okay? What's up?
So when you're staring, do you stare to make eye contact or just look that direction?
I mean, I'll do both. Yeah, I'll do both. I'm going to stare at what I think the problem is. If you walking like this,
I'm peeking. This isn't. Unless you have something wrong with this arm, this isn't normal, right? But I need to know that, right? So the first thing that I'm
going to do, I'm going to try to give you a left-handed handshake. So I'm immediately put something in my right hand because you're not moving your left. You see how proactive I'm being? So I'm looking at you walking with your left hand clenched. And I'm like, oh, okay. Hey, brother. Hey. And if you do the overhand, now you're giving me something here, right? You're giving me something here. But now, hopefully, I stopped you in the parking lot. Now you and I are gonna have this conversation out here until I figure out if this your good hand or not. All right, I'm not gonna do no jokes. All right. No. All right. So if you know, and then I may say, "Oh, I'm sorry, brother. I have this in my hand." You know, that's weird. Are you gonna do an overhand like say, you know, like that? Is everything all right with you? Yeah, yeah, man. All is well. You know. Yeah, and if that's the case, then guess what? I'm gonna press that arm. Oh yeah. Oh man, I'm so sorry to hear that, brother. You know, I hope everything is all right. You know, and then all right. Now, so what I've done, I'm answering my questions, right? So when you say, what am I staring at? I'm staring at what I think the problem is, right? And if you are attached to the problem, then I'm staring at you. You know what I mean? Because what we have to do is be a deterrent, right? We have to be proactive. We have to respond. Because if I look at it, your mind, here's the deal. Oh, I'm not going to teach that. I'm not going to say that. See, if you didn't have me recording, I would say it, but I'm not going to say it. Most people will qualify things in their mind to something normal. You will try to normalize what it is before you say it's abnormal not to deal with it, right? So if you want it, never mind. I'm not. Ask me later what I was going to say, and I'll tell you. But based on that theory, you'll qualify something in your head. So what you have to fight against is looking at the arm and saying, "Oh, he must have had a stroke." No, no, because I'm the one that has to stand in between this person and everybody that's worshiping in the church, right? There's no way I'm going to allow parishioners not to bring to God the things that they have their problems with because I'm not doing mine. I'm not going to allow parishioners to not be able to lay prostrate before God and not think that they were going to get shot or trampled. You know, does that make sense? I'm going to provide a safe space for people to bring God their cares. And one of my favorite prayers is, God, help me leave it there. We always pick it up. God, I'm having this issue. All right, I'm going to go back home with it. I'm not preaching. Okay, I'm not preaching. You gave me a mic and I got a jacket on. So, so I'm preaching a little bit. Anyway, so I'm really staying on your question. So what am I staring at? I'm staring at the issue. And I'm assessing. I'm questioning mentally, if I have the time, I'm questioning mentally what it is that I'm staring at. What caused me to stare at you? And if you ask me, why are you staring at me? You've now engaged in conversation with me. Guess where I'm going? Hey, brother, you got on a whole leather outfit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know what I mean? You got on a whole leather outfit, and man, all I could think is Michael Jackson music in my head, and you know. So I may approach with jokes, and this is a part of it as well. But I'm definitely prepared to hurt you. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm the line of defense. That's what it is. It is what it is. Okay. So if you give me that opportunity, what you staring at? I apologize, brother. I had a leather jacket like that when I was young, and all I could think about is the Michael Jackson moves I couldn't do, and I was just wondering if you could do them. You know what I mean? So I have a different intent, right? But I'm learning how to approach people and disarm them. That's called disarming, right? I'm learning how to disarm people while being prepared to deal with a situation. So you see him in the parking lot. I'm also answering your question. You see him in the parking lot. You don't know if you tell him to turn around and leave or not, right? It all starts with the why assessment in my head. And then when I come to you, hey, bro, I had a leather jacket like, don't touch me. Don't talk to me. I apologize. Hey, I'm Brother Aaron. Hey, I said don't talk to me. Oh, okay. Well, look. Is there something you need from us? Because you are at the church. You get what I'm saying? I don't need nothing from you. Okay, are you here with somebody? Now we have things going on where I'm looking at other safety team members that's scanning. Because if you're scanning, you're paying attention to me having this conversation with you. Right? And then if I turn and make eye contact with you, everybody know what this means. Like, bro, I need your help. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I turn around and make eye contact with you, hey, something's not right here, right? Then, hey, brother, look, We believe that is a house of prayer, and whatever you're dealing with, we've all dealt with it. You don't have to deal with it alone. Well, I am alone, and I ain't come here to talk to nobody. All right, well, this is a church. So now I'm about to start turning this into a situation where you're not passing me.
And at the front of the church, pastor asked me to go see if they needed some water. Well, I got called everything but a child of God. And you know me, I'm saying come on to the sidewalk and let's handle it.
I don't know you. But I do now. And I'm afraid.
It was at that point, because once
I know why Pastor called you.
Okay.
All right.
When you do your alert, you listen and looking. So you're scanning the place. These people had set up camp. And it was raining. But we're dealing with mental illness at this point.
Yeah.
At this point.
So all of those assessments start with why. Because if you approach that brother with something that you already have in your head, or sister, with something you already have in your head, you can offend them. Right. So anyway, that's how you start that. All right. So you will not be able to start that if you're not scanning. That should be simple enough, right? But it's a very hard thing to do because it feels abrasive when somebody catches you staring at them, especially a male staring at a woman. What you looking at? So that's a tough one to navigate. But if there's something that causes that suspicion, then you'll be like, hey, I apologize. Look, my job on the safety team, and I'm just practicing, is to scan people. And I'm not saying you're doing anything or whatever, but most people don't have a stomach that bulges out to the right. I'm sorry, right? And they'd be like, well,
This is my
I don't have my bra on it. All right, that answers the question. I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry. I'm not staring at you because, no disrespect, you are attractive, I'm not staring at you, but it's my job to assess situations. That's weird. And you knew it was on the side of you. You should have fixed that before you came in. Anyway, I'm sorry. All right, I did preface that I'm 85% jokes and 15%. Okay, let me get back to 89. All right, I'm going to get back to my 15. All right, so here's the deal. You establish a baseline. I wonder if it's coming up. You establish a baseline. A baseline is what's the normal behavior in the environment that I'm in. What's the normal behavior in the environment that I'm in, right? So if I'm in church and pastor is talking, the normal behavior is a young lady walking in right here. Anybody know?
Robert.
Okay. If the baseline, if the normal behavior is everybody sitting down paying attention to pastor, then, okay, that's the norm. Now I want to see what the anomaly is, okay? So if I do this, something is absolutely wrong with that. All right? Now, that brother could just have gas and don't want to pass it on the parishioners. I said I was going to be serious, Aaron. Aaron, I need you to be serious. I'm tired, y'all. I'm sorry. I worked last night. Anyway, just because the point, I'm 15. Just because he did that doesn't mean that he has a bomb, he's about to be an active shooter. It is just an anomaly. It is a deviation from the baseline behavior, right? And this is all we do in law enforcement. Surprise! If I'm driving on the road in Texas, if the normal driving speed or the baseline speed is 70 miles an hour and you're doing 50, that's an anomaly. Why are you driving so slow? We back up. We figure out what's going on. Yeah, what's going on? Let me pull up next to you. Will you look at me? No, you ain't looking at me. You driving straight. Do you glasses thicker than, because if that's the case, then I'm answering my questions. I'm doing the same thing. Right? I'm teaching what we do. Oh, did you press that? Did I do that? Look at God. All right.
I did.
Oh, he telling me to move on. Praise God. All right. I'm moving on. Okay. Baselines is right here. What's the normal operation of an environment, right? A baseline in an elevator is different from a baseline at a football game. If I'm in an elevator, as soon as the elevator doors open, you're going, whoa! I'm probably not going to get on that elevator. It depends on what behavior I'm in. If I'm feeling like, it's cool, Or if it's an elevator at a football game, then probably, right? But typically, an elevator is a very uncomfortable place to be. All right? Everybody stands, you're just staring at the doors, like, please, God, open up. I hope nobody press gas, somebody breath smell, That type of thing, right? And then you don't want to talk to anybody, right? But at a baseball game or a football game, if you're not standing and shouting and you're just sitting there all quiet, and okay, that's an anomaly. Not saying that they did anything wrong, but when you're paying attention to baselines and anomalies, that's how you do it. So if I'm in the parking lot, the baseline is people pull up and they get out of the car. You pull up, you don't get out of the car. You pull up, you circle, and you circle, and you circle. Bro, this is not Walmart. There ain't nobody going nowhere. Go park over there and come to church. It's 40 minutes in. Like, they done praise and worship, and you still driving around in circles looking for a better parking. Look, I'll move my car. Come park here, whatever. Anyway, that's an anomaly. That's the point that I'm making. I hope I've driven that point home, because wherever you are, if you are in the children's ministry, if you are in the vestibule or the foyer, if you are in the sanctuary, or if you are in the parking lot, those baselines are going to be different, right? And it's incumbent upon you, if you're going to be, I'm going to be aware, I'm going to be John Wick, now that I've taken this class, I know what I'm doing, then you need to be very quickly establishing what's the baseline of where I am. Because if I'm going to be proactive in all the things that he's asking me to do, I have to be aware of what my baseline is, so I'll see the anomaly and start paying attention to it. So you get out with a leather jacket and a scarf in the summertime. All right? So I'm going to start my assessment. That's odd. Why is he doing that? All right. What other behaviors is going on? Is he getting kids out the car? Are they on the phone? Are they looking at you, giving you the head nod? It depends on how I know you. This is I know you. This is I'm about to get to know you. One or the other, right? If I get you, anyway. All right. So, what other behaviors that I can assess while I'm standing right here to say, okay, although that's not a part of the baseline, it's not suspicious enough for me to take the next step. That makes sense? Because we're going to get people with different cultures, different nationalities that do things differently. Okay? So you got to be able to say, okay, that's an anomaly, but can I solve this problem? Can I answer all my questions by saying here, not saying anything, by staring? Oh, okay. He did have a stroke. Can I ask a question? Hey, you met this brother before? Oh, yeah. You talking about license plate, Charles Boy? Like you do. Yeah, I met him before. I met him last week. He had a stroke. Oh, all right. Yeah, because I saw his arm when he was walking in. It makes sense? So I'm being proactive, and I'm letting everybody know what's going on. Okay, what are we looking for? All right, outside of baseline and anomalies, I've detected an anomaly. Now, what am I looking for? Are you alone, nervous, unresponsive? Do you have a disguise on? A couple weeks ago, I almost shot one of our parishioners because he had a disguise on. And I'll tell you why when we get to that point. He made it into the sanctuary, and that shouldn't have happened. All right, he made it into the sanctuary, and I mean all the cues, wig, mustache, beard, and dark shades, all the cues. And he went to the right in the sanctuary, right in the door, turned and stayed right there. I was like, yep, nope. Who is this? Right? And they grabbed me. Oh, that's, told me who it was. But all the cues, okay, are they hiding their face from you? All right? When they catch you staring, do they turn and look the other way? Or are they trying to stay anonymous? Excessive sweating, like I feel like I'm about to start doing. Loose clothing or bulky clothing. All right? We'll see that in one of the videos. The pacing, are you walking back and forth? Are the clothes out of season? Excessive fidgeting. Are they also scanning? I tell cops the only two people that scan is good guys and bad guys. Everybody else is just droning along in the stores, in their cars, and everything else. Right? So if I catch somebody scanning, if I make eye contact with somebody, now I'm trying to see whole person hands. Are you actually a cop or are you a bad guy? And then there's some indicators there, right? Then I'm looking for this. All right, are you nervous? Are you alone? Are you acting nervous? Are you giving me the head nod? Like, yeah, all right, brother, okay. All right, yeah, I got you. All right, so rigid, is your midsection not moving like it's supposed to? Okay, if you have something stuffed, a rifle, a bunch of magazines, which is I guess y'all would call them clips or ammo. If you have that stuffed under your shirt, that won't move like a normal belly. It stays in whatever form or shape it's in. If I pull it tight to my body, you may see me walking, but nothing in my midsection is moving like this. Hey, brother, everything all right? Yeah, that's worst case of. So those things you pay attention to because if I want to get a lot of ammo inside of a building, if I want to get bottles, that's how they steal. That's how they pick up on shoplifters all the time. Is your midsection moving correctly? It's one of the things they look at. Is the arms rigid? We talked about that. Is there any shapes in the pockets and stuff that will give me some indicator that you may have a firearm or something? Tightness of hands. If you ever see, I tell the guys, not in the advent of YouTube, you can see before a fight, during a fight. And you can see some of the indicators that somebody's getting ready to swing. Right? They open there, they widen their stance. All right? Everything begin to widen itself because you're readying yourself for a fight. And then are you seeing those things? Is somebody walking, making a beeline directly for somebody? Right? So another weird thing, I get out of my car and just but it's a problem. I didn't say nothing to you, nobody else. I didn't look around to see if another car was coming. I see my problem, and I'm going to deal with it. Right? I'm not dealing with you. I'm not dealing with you today. Okay, so all of those things is what, the more you prep yourself in what your baseline is, the easier it's going to be to see the anomaly. I know those are big words, but it makes it very, very simple. So you have to you have to do your homework. Whatever environment you work in, here at the church, at home, going to different stores and stuff like that. If you're walking to a gas station and all the customers are facing the windows, you might not want to go in there. We call them professional victims, but people get out of cars on their phone. They'll walk right in with everybody standing there and then gun to their face. And now you're another professional victim facing the wall, looking at the people, looking at the people trying to give them indicators like, don't come in here, call the police or whatever because you're not paying attention. Anyway, so the more you practice this, when you go to the grocery store, how fast are people supposed to be walking, And then, okay, that's an anomaly. I wonder if that person got to use the bathroom and they got to get home or whatever. So you start practicing these baselines and anomalies, right? Then you'll know who actually passed gas on the road. You'll know. About the gas, bro, I like it. I like it.
Assessment of you trying to determine if this is true or suspicious individual. So the reason why I asked this is because a couple of months ago, my wife and I were at a bank. The individual walks in, he fit the smoking description he had on here. He was wearing out of season clothing, long pants, sweatshirt. This was middle of July. He had the blue latex gloves. He had the face mask, and he had a beanie. And then he walks in. I clock him, my wife clocked him. This is fairly suspicious, right? So, the first thing that came to my mind was it was an African American male. I don't retract this. I don't want to have this notion of a man dressing suspicious. And so I watched him go up to the teller. He spoke to the lady behind the counter. It seemed everything was going well. Then I tuned up because at that point it seemed he had passed my initial assessment of is this suspicious because he was having a conversation with the teller. And I tuned that out. Like I said, I was on my phone. I was waiting. Then the gentleman left. The bank manager came out, locked the door. He said there's been a robbery.
Correct.
Bam.
So at first, I started thinking to myself, I was suspicious. My wife was suspicious. Other patrons were suspicious, but just based on the initial conversations he had with the teller, he was able to assuage our fears. But it still happened anyway. So situations like that where they pass or they clear your first your assessment, your initial assessment, but the incident still occurs. What happens?
Okay, so he didn't clear your assessment. You qualified his behavior. He did not clear your assessment. You qualified his behavior, and you did exactly what I said. We always try to qualify it to something that is not dangerous or bad. So the first thing you said was, because he's black, I don't want to say anything, right? So now you're pacifying what you see, and that's what happens. Now, yes, gloves, mask. My wife's name is Danita. My wife's name is Danita, and I try my best.
And when he's talking to the teller, he's very confident, like, hey, how are you? I love that. Wow. So I guess, we did qualify.
Correct. You qualified his behavior. No, but so also understand, I've been doing this for a very long time. All right. So don't feel bad about that. Learn from it. That when I'm talking about responding, you gotta respond. Okay. Now that response don't mean I have to go and tackle him or do anything. That response could be opposite. That response could be I'm getting, okay, and then I'm gonna go outside. That response could be I'm going to my car to see what car he gets in. Right? That response could be on my way out. If you see outside of the baseline, then you should be paying attention to getting out of there too. Babe, get up.
Let's go.
You know what I mean? Me and my wife have an agreement or an understanding that if I say something direct, I'm not talking at her. Well, who you talking to? Bro, if I said it, I need you to do it. Then you can fuss at me while we're alive later. But if she knows if I turn that on, babe, get up. Get up. You know what I mean? So, what happened was he didn't pass the smell test. You qualified the behavior. That's what happened. Because,
Can I say?
Go ahead.
Can I add this? Does anybody remember? We had a young man come in
Yeah. Teenager.
with a backpack,
Black.
and he kept scanning. He kept checking for cameras. He kept looking around, and then when the service was over, he came to talk to me, and even as he was talking to me, he kept looking around. He was talking with me, but he was 50%, even 30% with me, but he was everywhere. But the crew already picked him up. Brother Bola did. And everybody was kind of watching him, and then he said he needed food. And then Brother Bola told me that he's saying he needs food, but his story is not adding up. You know, so, and then he eventually left. And then my two grandkids told me, I never told you guys this, Tony, that guy told Tony, he said, guys, something's fixing to go down here. Something's fixing to go down here. Something's fixing to go down here. It never went down, but it's because, I mean, people engaged him. People didn't ignore him, you know, so. Just,
Alert, look, and this. Alert, look, and this.
We'll get into that. Remember that story. We'll get into that about this framework. So when we're doing our assessment, we want to question stuff. All right. Not only question it to yourself, but sometimes just grab a second opinion. When I was going shoot. What's his name? Corey's husband. When I was on my way to shoot him, I asked somebody, did they know who it was? Right? Get a second opinion. And then they told me that's who it was. So I had to turn off that mode and then let him know. Take a picture of yourself and send it to me because I don't play behind that. Anyway, so getting a second opinion is important, right? Because you might invite somebody to church and nobody knows who they are, you know. So if you got time to do that, then do that. Is the anomaly when we're moving forward, is the anomaly that you detect, is it suspicious? It could be an anomaly, but it might not be suspicious, right? So you have all of this. And then obviously, what you probably should have did was continue to stare. Did you keep staring at him? Or did you the whole time? And until he starts casually talking to the person and then y'all disconnected. That's not bad. That's actually good because our reference point to robberies and banks is give me the money, you know, the stuff we see on TV. But in reality, all they do is pass a note. They pass a note and they say, I have a gun, give me money. And then they'd be like, all right, yeah, okay, have a nice day. And then they walk out. That's the normal robbery of a bank.
And that's what he did because he was wearing cargo pants. I was expecting him to bring out a gun, but he just pulled out a...
Is that what you did when you robbed the bank or what? You see that anomaly? Boy, they were like, I told you it would work. Wait.
I'm sorry, brother, but that was like,
Wait a minute. How we get this money for the church? Wait a minute. Jeez. Okay, go ahead, man. I'm sorry.
He said he wanted to make a deposit, and he reached his hands into his pockets, and I thought it was remember a weapon, and he just brought out a piece of
Yeah,
paper.
he brought out a note.
And okay,
Yeah.
this is like a legitimate bank transaction.
Yeah.
That's when I just
Yeah.
sit down at that point.
A good point here. Okay, the more knowledge that you have, the better assessment you can make. Okay, because the same way I said, it's very common that they pass a note. If you're not pulling out no money, no check, and you pulling out a piece of paper and all of those other things, it's 100% a robbery. But I know that because I've attained that information. Does that make sense? So I'm not saying go watch the news because the news will drive you nuts. But different things like this that we're talking about, all of this, it helps your Rolodex better prepare you about what's suspicious or what's not. So when somebody's saying, you just profiling me. No, I'm not. You only come when we're having, and then you ask, as soon as you got out the car at the parking lot, you ask what time was offering. And then the next time I see you, that's the time you pulled up. You pulled up in a car that's reeking of marijuana, and you came by yourself last time. Now you with 3 other people. I am not just profiling you because you were poor, black, or whatever. Does that make sense? Because I know statistically, hey, this is what we deal with. Now, get offended if you want. You're not coming in here. And that's my 15. Let me go back to 85. All right. So one thing that you see does not mean that that person is bad or doing something wrong. It's a cluster. The mask and the gloves and the note, right? All of those things causes, all right, now we actually have something. One of them isn't anything, because that's very justifiable that, okay, we were in that time frame of COVID and a lot of people was doing a lot of weird things. If you were one of them, I apologize. All right. So we want to make sure we're trying to get a totality of circumstances and get multiple behavior cues to also help us assess, right? But I'm not going to wait for multiple behavior cues if that person is approaching the church, right? I might just take the one and then go see if there's others while I'm having a conversation with them. Does that make sense? If I don't get a multiple of them immediately, all right. During this program, this Lone Wolf program by the military, they realized that pre-attack behaviors are cross culture. It don't matter where you're from. The pre-attack behaviors are the same. So it took them because we in a law enforcement in America, I could go anywhere in the country and know if I'm in an area that a lot of stuff is going on or something is about to go down. But they've taken how we establish baseline and anomalies, taken it across the world and said that the behavior is the same. If they don't want no smoke, their hands go up everywhere. If they keep the weapon and run, they're looking for a fight. And it's the same here, right? If they're not paying attention, if they're rigid and moving around and nervous, all of those things are the same. So I was very surprised by that. Very surprised. Press my button for me, Doc. Go ahead, yeah. Bring everything up on that page. Shoot. Oh, it's 11. Oh, we got oh my God, it's 11 o'clock already. All right, let's take a break.